Hey everyone, it's Quentin from QPTech, and I just realized today that the last several videos I posted had no audio, well, no voiceover. So much wisdom was lost to the ages, but I just thought I'd make this video going over the drill and some of the stuff I had discussed, and I shall test this video first. So this is the mining drill, which is a mid, or I guess right now an endgame tech. It's quite expensive, needs a lot of steel and subparts to build. But once you get it, you get a nice, fast method of drilling. So there's the 1x1, or 2x1. 2x1 goes from the bottom, which I guess I might change to make it consistent. And there's the 1x3, and of course the 3x3, which this only affects ores and stone right now. So the drill is powered with the spirit alcohols. For now, I want to add fuel and stuff later, so I'm just going to right click on this bucket. But down here in the corner, you see fuel 41% and drill head at 80%. Hoping to make a HUD, but I have been having trouble getting that to work. So I've right clicked on the bucket, which has drawn some of the alcohol out. So now we're at fuel 100%. And actually, if I want to fix the drill head, which it's, I think it takes 2 ingots of steel right now on the anvil to smith. So usually I'd wait till it was basically dead or even completely broken, but we're just gonna replace it. And you just do that by dragging it onto any of the selection button, the mode selection button. And then now we got this last mode, which is the X pattern, which if you play much Vintage Story, you'll recognize pretty quick that it is useful for quarrying blocks. Actually, especially I found when you use the 1x3 mode, because then I can come here and cut away these faces. Like when you're doing quarrying in Vintage Story, you always end up with these sort of access tunnels so you can actually access the faces. So yeah, it's a pretty quick way. If I go into survival mode, you will see the one drawback, I guess, is just the sheer amount of rocks that you're going to produce. And I'm going to come up with some sort of device, I think, to suck these up or possibly prevent them from being spawned. Pretty sure a lot of people have gone at it with drills on the server. It might lead to some lag. Actually, I just lagged out there. You might just have to take a break. Ultimately, we'll have options for changing the speed of the drill for server operators. But as you can see, it's a pretty cool part. Now, I guess to what I was addressing in the no voiceover videos, this is a pretty overpowered, especially for Vintage Story tool. But I guess the sort of philosophy or goals of QPTech ultimately for me, and where I'm going to be guiding things, is to late game items that are, reasonably hard. Like, it's a lot of hours before you're going to get to the tech level, like to make copper cables and rubber and all these different parts. You'll have spent a lot of hours in that world to get all the steel to make these various items, including some of these machines and some parts. And then once you do, I find with Vintage Story, at least for me personally, as you get to the end game, things are getting really grindy, which I know a lot of Vintage Story players, like, they love the grind and earning it, whereas for me it's a bit much. So I think I'm gonna be pushing QPTech more towards, automation and stuff like this drill, which is going to get you a lot of rocks. And I will have an extrusion machine of some sort eventually to grind these up and add some kind of binder and then spit out these pure stones, and a machine that will make them into chiseled versions and stuff like that. Basically stuff to make your end game life easier, which for me anyways, the end game often involves getting into some big builds, and that's where the grind, I think, again for me personally, becomes a bit too much. So with QPTech, you put in the work and you'll get some machines and cool stuff like that you can ultimately use to start getting materials a little more quickly. Like, that's one thing I do like in Minecraft sometimes, is how quickly you can gather the materials for a build. Now Minecraft, like, it's ridiculously fast usually how quick you're gonna tech up. Like, you can have netherite in, well, probably a couple of hours tops, right? Whereas I've literally spent real life days trying to get limestone so I could finish the parts to even get to steel. And I'm sure many of you are Vintage Story players are well aware, and I enjoy actually that early game tech up, like finding your copper and then finding your zinc, getting some bronze, finally, getting enough to make the bronze anvil, doing your first iron bloom and stuff like that. And then of course steel is a whole other project unto itself that is very cool. It forces you to go and wildly explore the world, unless you're very lucky. But once you get there, I find for me, like, you do have lots of stuff to you can build faster obviously at that point, but I think with QPTech I'll be adding ways to go beyond that and just get your stuff a little faster, building more and more intricate and large machines. I do envision like oil wells and distillation towers and larger power plants, mining machines, all sorts of things like that. So I mean, this drill is actually, right now it's definitely end game tech, but at the time, as QPTech progresses, this will just be a mid game thing, and there'll probably be even better versions, probably dirt moving versions, like diggers that would do clay and stuff, maybe a cool chainsaw, stuff like that, stuff you would see in a Minecraft tech pack. So hopefully it'll blend the best of two worlds, and yeah, especially with chisel tools and stuff, you should be able to do some really cool builds without like spending so much time grinding. So, and I know a lot of people are not going to be into that. That's fine. This is definitely, QPTech is not a pack for Vintage Story users, like in general. You know what I mean? It's going to be a subset of users that will be into this stuff. But anyways, that's where I'm at, and I'm going to go and make sure this video and all my blabbing is actually there, which might be a good or bad thing. But anyways, thanks for watching.